Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Image Bearers. I'm your host, Lacey Connor. What is up, everyone? Hope everyone is feeling loved and blessed. Today, we have a fantastic, influential, I don't know, just the best. I'm pumped about this podcast because I feel like we're just going to chat. We're going to see where this goes. The Lord is going to lead this, and we're going to see. But I do have something that has been weighing on my mind. I'm so curious, and I'm on edge. How is your rom-com cinematic adventure happening?
Okay, so I had talked about I had never seen all these rom-coms because I was an only child, so I was raised by a very manly dad who told me all about Star Wars and Avengers, and 300 is like our favorite movie, Avatar. And I don't know what my mom was doing at that time. I think she was letting us just watch a movie.
Right. She was like, they like
She showed me like Beaches, but that's not a rom-com. That's like
Oh, Peaches. I thought you said like,
no.
What's Beaches?
Oh my gosh, it's like a movie about best friends dying. It's really sad.
I thought it was, is it? Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, it is Beaches.
Bette Midler, yeah.
Yes.
So that's my mom. She likes sad, like Titanic, Beaches, Steel Magnolia.
I know. See, I was about to say Steel. Oh my gosh,
a rom-com.
It gets me in my emotion. But it's so like it's such
so
a great.
good.
It's so good, and you're just like
right. And then I met my boyfriend, who his favorite genre is rom-coms, which is very sweet.
Oh my god, that is so.
So like
cute.
we went to the West Coast last summer, and on our way back, we watched You Got Mail on the plane.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he had never seen it, and we were both like sobbing at the end of it.
Right.
And I was like, I know it's sad, like, but it's really sweet. So I've been working on it, but I haven't had much time in between.
Right.
That was last week. So
which ones? What have you watched?
Last week we watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which I was like, this is iconic. This is
right. It's
really
so good.
And really funny. Like, and I mean, it's Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
What a guy.
And Kate Hudson, they're adorable.
So sweet.
Right.
But I've never seen, what's the one? He's Just Not That Into You.
I've
never seen that. I've never seen like Notting
Notting Hill?
I don't know.
I think
I don't even know.
Right.
I have a whole list.
Yeah, but okay, so the only one you've watched is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Pretty much. Okay. And like You've Got Mail, which to me is still like a sad movie.
It kind of
like
is.
Sleepless in Seattle is okay.
Right.
It's not the best.
Right. But still, I feel like that like 90s, early 2000s, they slayed.
Yeah.
They did it. They understood the assignment.
Great. And I used to have like Sad Girl Fridays. Like,
what does that mean? Like you just were like, I want to watch a sad.
I like had a therapist at the time tell me it was actually really healthy.
Really?
But I would go home on Friday after work. I would like make myself a dinner. I'd like order like a dinner that I wanted. And I would just watch a movie that I knew was gonna make me cry, like Titanic or The Fault in Our Stars or like Little Women.
Dude, I love The Fault in Their Stars. It's fantastic.
Reread it the other day, and I just like had to drop the book on my face and cry. It was so because that came out when I was like in middle school, high school.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like the perfect time to be sad.
Right. I guess so. I know. I was legit just thinking the other day because I was listening. I go through these phases of like punk rock and stuff and like emotions or like the indie, like
emo.
The emo kind of. And I was like, I was just in my feelings. But like, it was such
kid staring out the window.
Right. Like, what was this? Why did my parents be like, snap at me? Because I'm not like that anymore. But like, it's fun to sometimes go back to it.
People were like worried about me. They were like, you're having every Friday you're crying. I was like, it's great.
Right.
Having a great time.
Right. You're like whatever.
Feeling.
Right. You're in touch with your emotions. Your emotions don't scare you.
No. Scare other people, maybe.
It makes other people feel uncomfortable.
Like, oh, okay.
That is I mean, I love that you had a name for it too.
I did. I wanted to make merch because I also I love like a lunch beer. I don't know if we could talk about
no, you can talk about whatever you want to.
And I want to make like little bucket hats that say lunch beers, and then I want to make crew necks that say Sad Girl Friday.
Yeah,
they have nothing to do with what I do on my brand, but I think they're great.
They're fun. Good lunch beer, yeah.
Lunch beers is great.
Right.
Like healthily, respectfully.
Right. Just one. I mean, it depends if it's a Saturday. Sometimes
nice days.
Right. You get the fellowship, and my problem is I get to fellowship, and then sometimes some music comes on, and then I'm like, oh, once I know my limit is once I hear music, and I'm like, I gotta move. I'm like, funny. I've had enough to drink, but it's helped me now that I've realized it. Now when I'm like fellowshipping with people, because I don't realize it, because you're just like blah 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 blah. You're like, oh, I have another one. Oh, another one. It's delicious. And then I hear music, and I'm like, I suddenly feel like I need to dance.
See, I had to like learn that. A lot of people need it as like a social lubricant.
Right.
Like, a lot of people need it to unwind and like get more comfortable talking. And I'm like, I don't have that problem. It actually makes me like worse. Like I get a lot more chatty. And I'm like, I don't think I need a stimulant for that.
You're like, there is no needing to like help me. I'm already chatting.
My mom always said like, I've never had to tell you to be yourself. I've actually had to tell you to maybe tone it down a little bit.
Oh my God.
Never struggled with that.
Oh my God. That's good though.
Yeah. It's nice.
Because it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people. I mean, I would say like one-on-one, I'm fantastic, but in groups, it kills me slowly. I'm the weirdo in the corner that's like just like, hi.
No.
And it's been so hard with like the podcast and trying to do like networking events and being like, this is me.
Really hard.
Because I used to be a labor and delivery nurse. So like it was just one-on-one. And now I have to be like,
very like, we need to communicate.
Yeah, we need to communicate.
We have to communicate.
Yeah, that plus it was just like easy. I can do like one-on-one, but like
you know your role. They know theirs, and
I was a nurse, so like I already knew like everyone understood the assignment, what I was here for.
Right.
But for a networking thing, like I do a podcast. What's this? And then also to add like the Christian aspect to it, because then people were like, oh, okay, what does that mean? So then I got like. And at first I was nervous to tell them. First I would just be like, it's just people's stories, like they've gone through a hardship, or that you like, like you see on social media, and you're kind of like, I wonder, like what is their story? They give us this beautiful gift, but then like, who are they as a person?
Right. Like why are they that way?
Right. But then I knew that people were going to listen to the podcast, and it was going to be a Christian podcast. And then I was also like at church feeling convicted because we're supposed to be bold and stuff. And I was like, you know what? You put this on my heart, Lord, for a podcast. Like, it's a Christian podcast. That's what it is. So we're coming out here loud and proud. Christian podcast. So now I lead with it and stuff.
So great.
Yeah. But at first I was kind of like, and then, so it was just a lot. I'm definitely out of my element doing this.
That's good.
It is good. I know, right? That's all the Lord keeps wanting me to do. He keeps giving me a whole bunch of kids, so I have to grow.
That's great. I love that.
And then we got married, and then I'm married too, so I'm growing with that. And then the Lord was like, you know what? Let's add something else, because you're going to do great things.
You're so bored.
Right? You're bored with your growing.
Nothing to do.
Right? Let's just refine you more with a podcast where...
It's humbling.
Yeah, it is. But it's great. I mean, I've met so many people. People keep asking me, like, how's the podcast doing? I'm like, it's good. I just love being able to, like, meet all these people I see on social media and stuff, and be like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Also, just because I want to get to know you. And then people can get to know you.
You realize, like, oh, we're all, like, talking about the same thing. Or we have all gone through, like, you were saying, like, there's been multiple episodes of the same topic. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's like, oh, that's, like, really normal stuff to go through.
Right.
I feel like people just don't talk about things sometimes.
Right? Oh, my God, so much. I mean, I started was a podcast also just because I felt like people felt like they were alone. We have all the social, I mean, you do social media. We'll learn more about it soon. And then, and it's like people think they're so alone. And it's like, sometimes this person that you're following may have had the same struggle you had.
I've interacted that, or like I've had that experience a lot.
Right.
I post something and people are like, wow, yeah.
Right.
Weird.
Right. You're like, you're not alone. Right.
It's not shocking to me.
I know. And I feel like Satan just makes people feel like, I mean, it's the number one thing. Like we always be like, we're the only people on the struggle bus about this.
Which is kind of like prideful too.
Right.
Like to be like, I'm the only one dealing with this problem.
I know. There it goes back to
really.
We blame it on the emo music.
It's because I'm a sad girl on Friday.
Sad girl Friday.
No other day.
No other day. But that's one where no one understands our feelings. We're in
I
them.
need to bring it back. I feel like I've been just like randomly sad on a Monday, and I'm like, that's just not the day we're supposed to be sad.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
Friday. So then you got the weekend to be happy with your lunch beers.
Exactly. It's the Sad Girl Friday to lunch beer pipeline.
All right. Shay, before we get to know you, I'm going to say a little prayer,
Sweet.
And then we will get to know you more. All right.
Sweet.
Heavenly Father, creator of heaven and earth, Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day, for the sun outside, Lord. We thank you for the time we get to sit down and get to know more about Shay, Lord. Lord, just thank you for this time. I pray that Shay may feel seen, heard, and loved. And Lord, this beautiful gift you have given her with social media, may people get to know more about who she is, who you created her to be, that we are an image bearer of the King who made all things, Lord. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen. Oh my God, thank you. I'm working on it. At first I was on the struggle bus.
Pray out loud.
No,
it's really hard.
Well, I had someone last episode we recorded, and she she slays in prayer. I mean,
some people do. They're like,
dude, she is like fantastic. And I asked her, and she was like, I just pray a lot during the day. So then I've had practice. And that's it. I was like, well, I also just feel like the Lord gifted her with that. Yeah. Because I pray all day. And I still
I just complain all day.
Right. Well, it's fine
That's
though.
not the same.
The Lord doesn't. It's fine. The Lord
Yeah.
understands. He made you. You
Yeah.
might just be a little more of a complainer than other people. It's okay.
It's not good.
He hears you. He hears you. The Holy Spirit is working through you.
It's true.
And he's working in you. And so there'll be a day.
It's true. I feel like I'm gonna be crying at the end of this.
I'm gonna be crying.
Like, you're so right.
Right? Oh my God. No, it cracks up.
Loved.
The people I've had from social media love that, like, they're like, I just love how it's a Christian podcast and I
Yeah.
normally don't get to talk about it. And now I just
That's
get to,
true.
I get to
Yeah.
like sit down and talk about it. I was like, oh my God, well, I'm glad you can give me that gift. I
Yeah.
can give you that gift because you give us all the
so
wonderful
sweet.
gifts. All right, Shay. Who is Shay?
Who is
How did
Shay?
you get started?
Oh my.
Right. Okay. So also someone has told me that like you have a story. I don't know. I can't tell you. There's a birdie that a few birdies have told me that
You're cheating.
you have a testimony.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean, you could say whatever you want to. You don't have to like.
yeah.
You don't have to be like.
we can start with like the life and business, and then
Yeah. However you
move
want to
into that
start.
maybe. But
You are the
my
boss.
little elevator
Applesauce.
pitch.
Yes.
Yeah. I am Shay.
Hi,
I
Shay.
am a local lifestyle resource and guide. I like to say.
Oh,
Not
that's fun.
like because to me, I'm like Visit Indy with a face.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I tell you what to do, but I also like could act like your big sister, which is funny because I don't have siblings, so I don't know what that's like. But yeah, I moved to Indy actually in 2017, so it's been a long time now
Right.
from Iowa, um, and just was here for a master's in museum studies,
Which is so weird.
which is
Can I just
really
say
why.
that? It's not you
It's
don't
really
give
weird.
masters in library studies. Is that what you said?
Museums.
Museum.
Sometimes they call it GLAM because
Right.
it's galleries, libraries, archives,
Oh my God.
museums.
I love
So
it.
I have a master's in GLAM.
Right. No, and you know it's so funny. That's what my husband wanted to do in his life,
It's
and he
really
did it. And I told
fun.
him, and he was like, "What would she look like?"
What's
And
she
when
look like? Not like a librarian.
right?
I have a lot of cardigans. So.
Yeah. I mean, I love librarians. I go to my
Yeah.
local library all the time with my
Yeah,
kids.
it's great. And like I just watched Night at the Museum and I was like, that's my life. I want that to be my life.
Is that why?
No, I actually like have a bachelor's in history, so I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And at that point, I was like 18, so I was like, why would I want a room full of other people's children to babysit, basically
Right.
for like $5 a year?
My mind's just blown. I have that
Yeah.
like mind blown emoji
Yeah.
in my mind right now because it's not like it just. I'm not saying like that. I think that's so cool. Like
Yeah.
you like it's total like plot twist.
It's really weird. It's good for the lore. Like it's
Right.
really good for like the grandkids story.
Right.
Like your grandma knew the internet once, but before that, she knew museums.
And she
So
chose
that's
to
my
do
like worst
library.
fear in life is like as a social media person, I'm gonna have to ask my grandkids how to like use TikTok eventually. Like it's like gross to me.
That is
But yeah,
hilarious.
moved here for that and had a great time. But I was also barely 20 when I moved here.
Okay.
For a master's. So
Oh,
I was
wow.
just a little spring chicken.
Right. For your math, did you go to school early?
I graduated high school at 18. I just did
Oh.
a ton of AP
Oh,
classes.
so you are smart. Yeah, that
No,
makes
I
sense.
just really
Why
like
you like the
homework.
library?
I
You
really like
like
homework.
homework.
That's why I did the blog. I needed to give myself deadlines and assignments, and
That's
that's
very
like to me that's
interesting.
what the content is now. Is like it's me submitting my assignment.
That's fun.
And that's why I wanted to be a teacher because
Yeah.
I love school. I'm obsessed with school. Like why wouldn't I just stay in school forever? And then I
Oh,
was like,
yeah,
oh, you actually
no.
have to like teach people.
Yeah.
You can't just
And you were
bop
like,
around. In the
you're like,
hall.
no, I just want the education, bop around and
I was like, how
deadlines.
can I like do the educational but make it a little more like exciting for me? And to me, like, oh, a museum is like the easiest way to do that. You go there for field trips, you learn things, and like house museums were a very big thing I wanted to work in.
What's a
like,
house museum?
like the Benjamin Harrison House.
Oh, okay. How
Um,
I didn't know that was an actual
Yeah,
word.
yeah. So
Okay.
like my first internship was like at a house museum back in Iowa, and I was like, this is such a nice way to learn history because God willing, everyone has a house,
Yeah.
and you can tangibly be like, okay, this is what a chair looked like back in the 1800s in this house.
Yeah.
What makes it different from a chair that you have? Why is it different? What changes have you seen throughout the years in
Oh my
chairs?
God.
Like
I
you
am
can learn so
loving.
much about
I
like
am
life that way. So
Oh my God,
that
this
was
is
like
cracking me
my
up.
nerd out. Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah,
I mean
no, I
if you
love
need
this for you.
if you need a girl to clean mold off of paper, if you need someone to sew,
Clean mold off of
we had to do
paper.
natural disaster training because a lot of us were gonna move.
Uh-huh.
And if you move to Florida, you're probably going to be cleaning a library every few years from a hurricane.
Uh-huh.
So we had to learn how to like clean dirt and mold off books.
That is
it was really good information.
right. I think it would serve well for like the apocalypse or like
Yeah,
a
I'm
zombie
ready.
thing.
I'm ready.
Like we need
Bunker
books
down.
and they got all dirty.
Yeah.
Like you would be the person.
Or so, like I know how to sew. Like my first internship, they're like, "Do you know how to sew?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do like basic embroidery. Like I know how to like tie a knot
Uh-huh.
and do a button." And they were like, "Cool, we need you to like sew these like labels into a Civil War coat." I was like, "I'm like 18, like,
Right?
I don't think that's allowed."
Interesting.
And it was like I was one of like 3 employees at that house museum, so that was my job for the summer, was to sew things into coats.
I mean,
And
that's
I was
fun.
like, "This is so old."
Yeah, but it goes back to like if this world ends,
Yeah.
you are a
Sewing's
valuable
a good
person.
skill.
Yeah.
It's a very good skill.
It's a lost skill too.
Yeah.
So you should be proud of
Yeah,
yourself.
I was binding books with it,
Oh
so
my gosh.
weird life.
Right.
Weird little 2-year lore of mine.
Right?
But yeah, I graduated and I didn't really couldn't really find like a job. Like I think I had a spreadsheet at one point that I applied to like 300 jobs.
Oh
So it was
gosh.
this really fun summer.
Yeah.
Just like rejection.
Right.
I like sprained my ankle that summer too. So it was
Aw,
like I just sat
sad.
there sad about
Yeah.
having no job. And then all my friends were working at like the children's museum
Right.
and the art museum. And I was like,
So you were a group of
it was about
museum
20
people.
people. Yeah.
You all
The
liked
program.
Yeah. Oh, so it was a pro. I didn't know if you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
just like you just happened to have friends that
No,
also like had
IUPUI
this.
had like a specific museum program, and that's like why I
Oh,
moved
they
to
did.
Indiana.
Oh.
IUI now.
Uh-huh.
But
Yes, I
yeah,
know.
it was like a group of 20 people, which was great because history, when I did my undergrad with that, it was just
Mhm.
a lot of like people are going to law school after this or teaching. And
Yeah.
a lot of politics. Like it
I could
was
see that.
a lot of
Yeah.
accounting too, which is weird.
Weird. That one's weird. That one I don't.
Yeah, like
It
accounting
doesn't.
and history would like switch majors all the time, back and
Weird.
forth. It was very odd.
That is odd.
And so it was nice to be in a room full of 20 people that like got it and like
Mhm.
understood.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're all here for like pretty much the same thing
Right.
or the same passion. At least a lot of
Yeah.
us would go on to do like some people would work at the zoo
Uh-huh.
because it's a living museum.
Oh my
So that
gosh.
was like part of our like
This is fantastic.
internship
Yes.
options was the zoo. It was like Newfields, the zoo, the children's museum. It was really fun. But yeah, so graduated. All my friends got jobs, and I did not because I was 21 when I graduated. My
Right.
birthday's in May, so I was like, I'm not even 22 yet.
Right.
And eventually my friends were like, you need an outlet. You need something to do because you're really not doing well. I was like,
Right.
yeah, I do.
Well, at least
They're just like,
they're
oh, like, you just
identifying
seem
it.
sad and like
Yeah.
we feel bad for you, I think.
Aw.
And so I was like, they're like, you really don't shut up in person. Like, what if you tried that on the internet? And I was like, oh, I could do that. I
Right.
could absolutely do that all day. And that's what I do now.
Right. I have a
So,
question with this time of rejection and stuff. I'm
yeah,
assuming it's hard because no one likes rejection one
yeah.
single bit and stuff. But like, were you just in a like bad space and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I was very like, I would say far from God at
Okay.
that era of my life. We'll
Right.
get into all
We've
that
all
too. Yeah,
we've
we've
all
got
been
lots
that
of
era, right?
time. And so I mean, I lived with a boyfriend at that time too.
Mhm.
So it was like just a very weird situation. And
Right.
um, yeah, I think I like wanted to like be outside a lot, and then I sprained my ankle, so it was like
Right.
that was like a big defining.
Right.
It was
Oh
so
yeah.
dumb because like it's such a minor injury, but like
Right.
I lived by Eagle Creek at the time, so it was like I
Yeah.
can't even like enjoy where I live.
Right.
Like
That
all my
was hard.
friends are at work, and
Yeah.
I'm not. Like
With the sprained ankle.
yeah, I'm
Yes.
chilling, and they all have the jobs they went to school for.
Right.
So it was just really hard, and I was kind of young, but I was also like, like it's kind of nice to have like a break
Right.
too, because
I'd
I've
imagine.
done so much school. I did
Right.
6 years of school and 4,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it was
Maybe
a
the
little
Lord
bit of a
was like,
blessing. Yeah,
sit your butt down.
yeah.
Or it could
Literally
have
sit your ankle
been.
down,
Yeah. Right. Sit
ice
your
it.
ice it. And
It's
you're
a
like,
lot.
let me just go chat with people then.
No, literally. And so
Oh yeah. Go.
I started. I mean, all at that time. That was 2019. So like that was just like the era of the fashion blogger, which
Yeah.
was
Was
great.
it? Okay.
It was so great for them. Um, most of my things are from Goodwill, Target, or like a local boutique.
Mhm.
So it was really hard for me to kind of be like, okay, I do like think I want to do this. How do I do it when I don't really want to? Like, I like looking nice.
Right.
I like to happen to look nice or like happen to have a cool outfit, but I don't want to talk about it all day.
Right.
I don't feel like that's gonna be fun to like comment back and forth, like, cute, thanks, cute,
Right.
thanks. Like,
It's just not.
And that's not every fashion blogger. I don't know.
Right.
Generalize
There's some
them.
people like they like fashion. And
Yeah,
stuff,
and so they're very good at talking about it. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't really care about. I like the historical side,
Right.
but
Oh my God,
I don't really
this is
care
great.
about like Abercrombie's latest sale. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's getting more expensive. I
Yeah,
can't do that.
Oh my God. I was
So-
just talking to someone how Abercrombie is so expensive.
I'm loving the rebrand, but like
I'm
I
loving
can't
it, but
handle
like
it.
also like why is this Britney Spears shirt I had from like 12 years ago now $90?
So,
$90?
yeah,
And then like
It's
I see
weird.
people wearing it and I'm like, oh my God, you spent. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
judge people, but
Yeah.
like we can also like it also makes me sad that like I gave away my Oops I Did It Again Britney Spears shirt because I
have
was
so
like,
many clothes that my mom has in like pictures. I'm like, why don't you still have that?
Right?
Because I want it.
Right? Now and
why
you're
would
like
you Goodwill?
it'd probably be $100 now.
Right. And
Which-
now I'm like at the Goodwill looking for it.
I know.
But, yeah.
We digress.
Well, and that too, like I didn't have a job at the time.
Right,
Like I worked at the archive on campus that I worked at while in
I just
school.
love
but that
this,
was like 2 days a week. So-
Like hidden treasure.
know, it's
Like I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It's a weird time. I can't go to like a museum anymore, like with people, because I'm like, how are they hanging this on the wall?
Oh my
Like,
God, no,
it's
you're
really
not. It's like
obnoxious.
me with hospitals and watching
Yeah,
like medical
yeah.
shows.
You get
I'm
a
like,
little
they
too
wouldn't do
into
that.
it.
That
Yeah.
doesn't look right.
Exactly. Or like Night at the Museum. I'm like, apparently things don't come to life.
Right.
I've taken 2 years of school to learn that. Um,
Aw.
yeah, so I didn't have like, the funds to finance a fashion blog.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to talk about like the things I was wearing all the time. Because you couldn't link anything. Like I can't link somebody's dead grandma's shirt that I found at Goodwill.
Right.
So there's no way for me to like even monetize that.
Oh,
So I was
that's
like, okay,
true.
like what can I talk about then? Because that's out. Like
Yeah.
food's kind of out because I can't afford a lot of food either right now.
And your food's expensive.
Food was okay then, but
Yeah.
it's
Now it's
yeah.
now it's giving rich and
Yeah.
expensive.
And I was
yes.
like, well, my group of friends and I still do things around town. Like we still hang out like
Mhm.
after school. We still like remain friends. What do we do? Like we had all not been from here. And
Uh-huh.
so I think because of that, we enjoyed it a lot more because
Right.
we encountered a lot of people who had lived here their whole life and been like, I hate it here. It sucks. I'm like, that's how I felt about Iowa. So I
Right.
get it. Like that's
Mhm.
really fair. But you're also not really doing anything about it. So like,
right.
okay.
You're like, you cannot complain.
right. Like you're allowed to leave. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like, no one's like holding you back. And I was like, well, like we do trivia every single week at the Tap. We go to
Right.
German Fest. We are always checking out new restaurants. We love finding a new event. And I was trying, like, it was very hard for me to find people talking about that
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, well, I guess if no one's talking about it, I could.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do it.
Yeah. You're like, there's a need.
And it was very natural. I was like, this is already stuff I'm like talking about anyway. I just had to
Right.
start posting a lot more.
Right. That's the thing.
So then we ran into like, you're on your phone all the time. And,
Right.
Like, yeah, I know.
You're like,
It's
I'm
kind of a
doing
thing
the
now.
best. Okay.
It was hard because I was like, I'm trying to like start something I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I'm doing. I just
Right.
know it requires my phone to be out a lot, I guess.
Right.
Which now, I've done it since 2019. So
You've been doing it for a while now.
I've been better at like, okay, this is a no phone situation.
Yeah.
Or like I know how to get the quick little shots without having my phone out the entire night. So
Yeah.
that's been nice practice. But
Right.
it was really hard because I was like, what do people even want to know? Like how do I want to structure this content? I don't like taking a lot of pictures of myself. So how can I make my feed not all my face?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still use pictures when I had brown hair back in like 2021. I
Right.
have no shame. It's like, it's me. It's just
Right.
different font.
Right.
So yeah, and then it just kind of morphed into what it is now. This
Right.
like beast of an LLC, which is crazy.
Right. Look at
So like I didn't
you.
go to school for that.
You are legit.
I now I call myself a digital curator
Oh,
because I have to justify the student loans. I have to be like, I spent that much money to do something. Like,
right.
so we'll call myself a
it
digital curator.
Right. It worked in your
Yeah,
favor.
Yeah,
It
was nice too because I did that, and I mean, I've done that for a long time now, and I was working at the archive, and then COVID happened.
Mhm.
So I started working at unemployment. Actually, I wasn't unemployed.
Like you worked at
I
like
was
the
unemployed.
unemployment office.
I worked in the appeals office.
Okay.
People were like extra mad by the time they got to me.
Yeah.
And it was COVID, so I was like, this is good job security.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on. They just know they're unemployed. So
Yeah.
it was like sad but great, and it was a really sad time actually. Like it was just awful to like see the things people were going through.
Right.
And
Oh no, I bet so.
the, like
yeah.
written appeals people had to write to like get a small amount of money back. It
Mhm.
was really sad. But because of what I'd been doing with my blog, I was applying to like social media jobs, and I got a marketing like social media job at a hotel that was opening, and
Ah,
got out of unemployment. And I was like, wow, this is cool that this like little
all right.
thing I've just been like doing for fun got me like a corporate Marriott job.
Right?
Like
That's
that's
crazy.
weird.
That's definitely the Lord in that because you
Yeah,
didn't have like
absolutely.
a back,
No,
like,
I know it wasn't something I was seeking out.
right?
It
Yeah.
wasn't something I was like, oh, I went to school for marketing. I need a marketing job. Like blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Like I really was like, I'm gonna move to DC or Chicago and
Right?
work there forever. Goodbye, Indiana. Like,
Yeah.
so that was really weird. And like, my parents aren't entrepreneurs. Like, I don't have any really big entrepreneurs in my life. Everybody either stays at home with their kids or does like blue collar jobs, which is
Yeah.
awesome. I love it. But I had no idea like what an LLC was. I didn't know how to like find someone to do my taxes
Right.
because I just had my dad
You-
TurboTax them
Right.
like any, only child would. But yeah, it was a lot to learn, and that's what I did like during COVID. I would like, have my 2 days at the archive job,
Mm-hmm.
and I go home and research like Pinterest strategy. And that's what I
Right.
would do from like 9 to 5. And I would like do that. I would take my little notes and then I'd clock out. And like
Right.
I was just educating myself a lot because I like learning. I like school.
Right. That cracks me up. I mean,
Yeah, it's weird.
the Lord definitely made you special.
He's special.
He's special, girl. That's
Very
what you are.
special. Yeah.
But that's
so,
awesome. I mean, like,
yeah.
that's such a like inspirational story that like you had no, I mean, like
Yeah.
it went totally different. And then it's like the Lord wanted you to do this because it somehow worked
Right.
out.
Right.
That's
And
the
like
weird thing.
it's a beautiful way of using like the skills I have or like the treasures he's given me
Yeah.
of like communicating a lot
Right.
and like loving to connect people. And like I really don't like while obviously like museums wasn't the wrong path for
No.
me, like because I don't we've talked a lot about this in my small group. Like even if you make the quote unquote wrong decision, God knew you were gonna make that. So
Yeah.
he already had a plan for like that path.
Right.
Even if it's not his will or his plan, like he still wants you to like, be
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yeah.
And so even if that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, it's cool to see now, like, oh, this makes so much sense. Like,
Right.
this is what I was kind of born for, and
Right.
like uses my skills in a really good way. And it's been
Right.
nice, but
Yeah,
it's been
no,
a lot
that's
to learn.
right. I mean, the Lord, I mean, we sometimes take the wrong path. The Lord brings us back and stuff.
Right.
But then you look
Yeah.
back and you're like, well, shoot, Lord, you're a jokester. Like,
Right.
like it
You
worked out.
plan, God laughs,
Right.
and you move on.
Right. But
But
then you provided.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now I like awesomely work for myself now.
Yeah.
So it's almost been a year
Okay.
since I like quit my full-time job, and I'm just
Was that
City of
scary?
slaying. It was so funny because we just talked. We're reading Esther right now. So we're talking
Okay.
about like
Yeah.
such a time as this, and
Yeah.
kind of what risks have you taken in life? And my friends in my small group were like, oh, we literally just talked about this last night.
That's fun.
They were like, we thought of you because you like took a big risk of like quitting a very stable job and
Mhm.
working for yourself. And I was like, I did not feel that at the time. I was just like, it's time. Like
Right.
it has to happen. Because at that time too, I was doing City of Shay, which is like kind of a full-time job in
Mhm.
itself, the 5 to 9 after the 9 to 5. I was doing my 9 to 5
Yeah.
with my, lunch break being City of Shay, my morning being City of Shay. And then I'd started Socials of Shay, which was like freelance social media management services for
Oh.
like clients,
Okay.
which like corporate had to get involved and be like, is this a conflict of interest? I was like, I don't really want to do hotels anymore. So
Yeah.
no, it's not going to be conflict
Right.
of interest. It's going to be like cute boutiques and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was working like basically 3 full-time jobs, and I was like, it got to the point where like they just all started overlapping in a way where
Mhm.
I started feeling kind of guilty that like, oh, I'm doing like things for me while I'm kind of on their clock, and
Yeah.
like that's not fair to anybody in this situation, including me. Like it's
Yeah.
not fair to me to like do work that I don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
And it was more of a like necessity of timing rather than like I'm gonna take a big risk.
Right.
Which is nice because I like that I had a piece about it.
Right.
Like,
I think the Lord definitely gave you like a
yeah,
piece because
yeah.
like you're.
And my boyfriend
Yeah.
was great too.
Well, yeah. Right.
Because he is self-employed. He's been self-employed his entire life.
Yeah.
He never went to college.
Oh, he did it?
No, he did weddings for like 7 years. He's in video.
Yeah.
And he sat me down and made me a spreadsheet and was like, okay, like tell me all your income from your job,
Right.
pros and cons of your job. Tell me all the income from your side hustle, pros and cons of it. I'm going to run some numbers.
Right.
And he was like, oh, no, you'd make more money if you quit your job. And I was like, oh, that sounds horrible. And that's like not why I quit. But he was like, you'd have the time to pursue figuring out how to make this more money. And that's a fun challenge. And like, oh my gosh, at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you're very well connected. You can just go get a big girl job again.
Right.
Because that was what my mom was kind of freaked out about. She was like, you're never going to get a job again. And I was like, you're not going to be health insurance. Like,
right.
Like, these things exist. Like, people do these things all the time.
But it's new for that age.
And
like
I'm, again, only child. Like, live 7 hours from my family. Like, a lot. And it was coming down to, like, I was thinking about quitting, and we had a family vacation to the Dominican Republic coming up. And I was like, this vacation is going to be unpaid if I quit or if I don't quit, because I just don't have enough PTO.
Right.
I have to kind of pick which kind of unpaid vacation I want.
Yeah.
And I also have to decide, am I telling my mom before vacation? Because it's a family vacation.
Yeah.
Or am I going to get her, like, all-inclusive one margarita deep?
Yeah.
And be like, surprise.
Right.
Quit my job. I'm on this vacation now.
Which one did you pick?
I picked before. She wanted to know about the health insurance, and she kind of knew.
You went brave. I almost would be like,
she was on FaceTime. It was okay.
Okay, but
balls were out, but they weren't like physically out.
Yeah, no, I get it, but still,
yeah.
Okay, but you were brave. You did it that way.
Oh,
you made the right
raised
decision.
an independent child, and they're independent. Like that's been my parents' like struggle. Now that I'm an adult, is like, you did this to yourself. You raised a very strong, independent person.
Right?
Don't be shocked when I just forget to, like, do things with other people.
Right.
So I always feel bad for her because I had to, like, run her the numbers. I basically had, like, PowerPoint night with my mom. Like, here's the health insurance I found. Here's what I'm planning to do. Here's the spreadsheet my boyfriend made.
Girl.
I know. And I'm like, that's fair. I would be too. But also, like,
you're adult.
I could go get a big girl job anytime.
Right.
Like, it's really okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. Like, I have an emergency fund. Like, it's all fine.
Yeah, it sounds like you got, like, super set up. You weren't just like...
But I also wasn't, like... I think a lot of people wait to quit when they reach or surpass their salary.
Yeah.
With their side hustle.
Yeah.
I was nowhere near that.
Oh, really?
Nowhere near. I was, like, maybe a quarter.
Okay.
And I know that's what a lot of people do. They'll just wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great excuse to be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, right.
Me, I was like, I just have to kind of do it because, like he said, like, you aren't going to make this money until you have the actual time, like that 9 to 5, 40 hours a week to yourself to find out how to make that money.
Yeah.
So that was kind of scary, but it wasn't ever like, this is like so terrifying and like the wrong decision. It was very much just like, okay, let's do it and see what happens. And
right.
the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
But it's still a big thing. I mean, like the girls in your small group.
Oh,
said,
yeah.
Like, a lot of people, but I think the Lord, one, gave you peace, also gave you a boyfriend that was willing to, that was willing to be like, I believe in you. And this is, let's be serious, Sam, though. Let's like think about all of it. And
I'm
stuff.
like the third person he's done that with. So I'm like, you need to like start a course or something. Like quit your job with one spreadsheet or like something catchy.
Right? Maybe I should have him on the podcast so we could talk about
how
he would love that.
He's so lovely. We could talk about him for 2 hours.
Right?
I could do that so easily.
Right? Don't get me started. I get talking about my husband and then it just goes back and forth about how much we love the men in our life.
They're so great.
We'll do that another time.
Yeah. We'll have the men podcast.
Right? The men in our life.
Yeah. Like a bachelor, but with people we like. Yeah, but that's like the city story, I guess. Kind of long, but
no, it's not.
It's a fun one.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of lore.
Right? That's so fun that you're like able to do that, and it wasn't something that like you went to school for or any stuff like that, and you found a need, and now it's like super successful.
One would say. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it is. You go, girl.
Yeah. I mean, like we have our months, and like I've been giving myself a lot of grace too. Like even like this month, it's been rough, like financially, and I have a lot of peace about it, which is really great. I mean, we did financial foundations through church recently, so that's been also like kind of helpful. But I'm like, I've never like my boyfriend and I are obsessed with like Dave Ramsey.
Right.
Like, I'm like he's financial grandpa. Like he's controversial, but he's fun.
Right.
And I'm like, I kind of struggle with I've never had to like apply the debt snowball to like a salary. I've only applied it to like freelance money.
Yeah.
And that's very weird for me because that's just not what I'm used to. I'm used to having a biweekly paycheck. And so he was like, oh, that would be kind of hard to like learn like how to like do that. Or like when the first month of freelancing, I like came to him and I was like, babe, I'm so confused. How do I pay myself?
Yeah.
How do I like give myself money to like buy groceries? And he was like, oh my gosh, it's so wild. You're going to move this money from this account to this account.
Right.
And then you're going to track that.
Right. And
you're
you're
going to
like,
just record that it was
oh.
owner's pay. And I was like, that's not enough information.
Right.
I
You're
need
like,
more. Like, that feels illegal for some reason. And he was like, no, that's very normal. Like,
oh, because that's what he does.
his whole life. That's
yeah.
all he's ever done. And I'm like, what a blessing.
Right.
To have someone hold my hand through
right.
this.
God was good to you and
He
was like, you might struggle with this, but I gave you someone who's going to help you.
And someone that gets it. Like, I mean, even he's had a couple months where they've been uncharacteristically slower. And he's like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, but now we can like get it together and like understand it a little bit more. And like, I feel like sometimes we struggle with like groups of people that do work corporate jobs, and it's like you're not really getting like why I'm so nervous about like not having money. It's like that's like there's no other way to get it but me.
Right. You're like I'm
like,
the person.
You go clock in. Like,
yeah.
That's which is another, there's still scary risks associated with that. But it's nice to have somebody that close to me that's like, no, like I get like it's really slow and like we're in it together. We just maybe need to cook at home today.
Right. But that's good that you have someone like that, because I feel like that would be very much a strain on a relationship if they didn't if they didn't get that.
For sure. And I think he's one of the first people I've dated that's like been really excited, which like granted he's a lot younger, so he's like
he is not that. How much younger is he?
I'm gonna be 28 and he's gonna be 23.
So it's not whatever. That's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Girlfriend, you've been acting like you in high school.
He like is Gen Z through and through. So he gets like all the social trends. Like he does not. He's really adept at like social savviness, I guess. And I am just like this little, we call it zillennial. Like, I'm so close that I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like that's a cute TikTok trend. But then I'm like, that's lit. Like, he's like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Right. I'm straight millennial.
So it's like this fun little combo, but he like gets it. So and because he gets it, he's like, no, there's so much value to this. Number one, you're undercharging yourself. Number two, like all the work you're doing is really cool and great. And like, I'm really excited. I'm just not used to like being with someone like that. Like they like the free meal or the free hotel stay, but the like actual work of it, they're like, you're on your phone all the time, or like it's kind of dumb. You take pictures of yourself all day. I'm like, I really don't.
You're like, I don't mean to. I'm not in these streets just taking pictures.
Right. I'm like, if you look at my Instagram, it's not like I'm like out there. Like it's quite modest. It's quite educational.
It's quite
it's not just like
it's who you are.
That's the caption. Like,
and I always think, I mean, some people slay the just like portrait with like the thing, but like
great.
I feel silly. Like I've had people be like, just put a picture and then like a caption, and I'm like, I feel silly because that's really nothing to do with the podcast, but it's a thing.
I'll do like a monthly just like event roundup graphic, and I'll make it into like a carousel. And I'm like, but I do want like it's just a graphic, and it is my brand colors, and it's cute and like branded. But like it's weird to have it on my feed, so I had to have a picture of myself first. But then I'm like, oh, I feel bad. People have to like look at a picture of me first to get to like the information that I'm like giving them.
No, you're cool. Like I was talking to someone from because you go to the downtown campus most of the time. I was talking to someone from downtown, and they're like, well, who are you going to have on the show? And I said, Shay, and they're like, no, I see her they said, I see her at church. I was like, well, you should go say hi to her. And they're like, yeah, I don't know.
In the lobby for 15 minutes talking to people.
All right. That's it. She was like, I see her, but I was like, no, she's nice. You could go say hi to her. Well, hopefully, I'm sorry I prolonged because I told about a group of ladies.
His problem. He's like, okay, social hour is over. I'm like, this is half the reason I come. Like,
Well, like it's also part of your like your brand kind of thing. Like,
I've had multiple people message me be like, I saw you. I'm like, I didn't see you.
Right?
Why didn't I see you?
Right? Like, just introduce yourself.
Right? Because I think people, like we were saying, like they find out I'm actually like worse in person. Like,
no,
worse than that. Like I'm even more myself.
Oh,
like,
I was like,
Instagram feels like my job now, so I have to not have a polish, but like I'm very corporate on there.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny. And like even TikTok, I'm like very like, here's the day of my life. Like to me, it's like this is my work now. And so in person, I'm like, oh, I'm like myself, but I'm always myself. But it's worse in person. So I'm like, no, it's fine. Just say hi.
Right. You're like, don't be a weirdo. Don't be a stalker. Like, just say hi.
When people call me like City of Shay, that's a little weird.
Right.
Like, City. Like some people have like screamed on like the pedal bars.
Nuh-uh.
And seen me and be like, City. Like,
That is weird.
Hey.
See, I just get weird people. I don't get weird people, but I get people now I have a podcast and I forget exactly what I say. Will
Yeah.
come up and be like, "Oh yeah," and then when you did this, and I'm like, did I tell you that? Like I just met, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah," and then they'd be like on the podcast. I'm like, "Oh yeah," like I
Yeah.
said something
I
on the
have to
podcast
remember
about
that too.
doing drugs,
Yeah.
and they're like, "I was so like."
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you for your
fun.
vulnerability. I'm so happy, like, like you're open to it and that you are, willing to say, like, that's who you are now, but you're not.
Yeah.
And she was like, it really spoke to me. And I
You're like, that's great.
was like, thank you. But I was like,
Like, what did I say
I was
about
like,
it?
how did you? I was
What did I
like,
speak?
I know. And I forget that I say stuff like that. And then people will
I
say it. And
feel
I'm like,
that.
oh, yeah.
I forget people like know a lot about me because
Right.
I really don't hold a lot back.
Same here. I
Because I
don't.
was like at an event once where I was like in a group of people talking about like where we live, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh yeah, like I live downtown, like near Mass Ave, and it's one girl who like I had never really met, but I could tell she was like really excited
Uh-huh.
to meet me, which I always feel kind of weird about because like I'm not. It's just me, like it's
Yeah.
just little old me. And I try to be like I feel like this job it can be so easy to like lose your humility.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been very aware of like remaining humble, and it
Yeah.
is like a practice. But she was like, I just love that I know that like where you live. I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Right.
I like that, but I'm like, oh yeah, people like I have to kind of be careful. Like I do
Right.
YouTube now, and people have commented like, oh, I like this apartment. Like, which one is it? And I'm like, oh, my lease isn't up till September. I'll tell you then, because I'm like, safety's
Right.
still a priority. Like,
Right. But I don't think people realize that. Like, and
Yeah.
it's not, they mean well, but you're
oh
also
yeah,
like,
they're
we're
so
also,
sweet, so sweet.
but it's also like, we're also human
Well,
beings.
it's
that,
a lot of my brand is to tell you like, hey, here's a cool neighborhood to live in. Here's
Yeah.
a great apartment complex. Like I work with apartment
Right.
complexes on content. It's
Right.
like, but I'm not gonna tell you like my
Right.
unit number.
But you're also like, I didn't realize that the also hits very close to home.
Or like even when I when I worked at unemployment, like people found my Instagram or like trying to like get their money back that way.
Oh.
And I told my bosses like, hey, like this just isn't like appropriate. Like
That
it's
is
not that
so
I have
weird.
a private Instagram, but it's also not that I have a public. It's like it was they
Weird.
didn't understand like what I did on the side.
Yeah.
And they're like, just ignore it. And I was like, the world is
It's not
scary.
your life.
Like
Right.
they're like, just don't post where you're at. I was like, I didn't know I hired management. This is
Right.
crazy. But I was like, that was a weird way to deal with that. 'Cause I'm like, the world is kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Gotta be a little careful. But
Right. That is, you
Yeah.
never think about, I mean, people honestly, like the outside world doesn't, I mean, like before I started talking to like, I guess I'm going to call you guys
that's fine.
influencers.
We'll take it.
Okay. Yeah. Influencers. I didn't realize I didn't realize the depth behind it, but it's honestly because I didn't
Yeah.
really like think about it until I started talking to
Just
you
see
guys.
the product a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I see the product and I don't think
Yeah.
about like the intention. Like there's actual
Yeah.
intentionality. There's like,
There's a lot of research.
Yeah.
Especially like with what I do. Like I like to say like there's food, there's fashion, and then there's like the people that live in between, and I'm like the people that live in between.
but yeah, I
And
didn't
it's a
realize
lot of
it.
research and admin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that part. And also just like the safety aspect. Like you guys
Yeah.
are human beings, but your life is also very public, but it's also not exactly who you, I mean, like it
Right.
is who
And I
you are,
want
but it's
you to be able
persona.
to come
Yeah.
up to me. I want you to be able to say hi to me and like, oh my gosh, I tried a restaurant down the street from where you live. Like
Right.
that's fine. It's just like, don't be a creep. Like,
Right.
And nobody's been that creepy.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
it can give creeps
the
sometimes. Like,
parasocial relationship of like, I always try to like ask like, because they'll be like, City of Shay, and I'll be like, hey. And I try to ask their name
yeah.
so I can go and DM them later. Like,
Oh my God.
thanks
I
so
bet
much
you.
for saying hi. Like, that was so
Right.
nice of you. Because it always just feels like, oh, you got something out of that interaction, but I feel like I didn't get something
Right.
out of it. And I want to be able to say thank you. So I do
Right.
try and like ask, but then it's always like a Maddie. And I'm like, there's a lot of Maddies.
Right.
There's a lot of like Katies.
Right.
Can always just like find your name.
Right,
Or like
that's
some people
true.
I talk to frequently will introduce themselves as like their handles.
Right.
Which is really cute.
Right. Isn't that's
It's really, it's like, hi, I'm Image Bearers. Like,
all right?
like, okay, what's your name?
Right. I ran into that like a networking thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I get because that same thing. I went to a networking thing. It was like a social media thing, and everyone introduced themselves as their handles. But then
Yeah.
also they were like, "Oh, you follow me, I follow you."
Right.
and
And
I
it's
don't-
like, oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
'Cause-
plus I was like, "Do you want to go get coffee? Do you want that?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, because I'm like, I feel like I'm semi like, I didn't understand this whole social media. Like, Laura put this podcast on my heart, and then I was like,
Okay.
I don't know what else to do. Like, okay, here it is. And then I've gone to like a few networking events, and I don't get to know their name, just their handle.
Yeah.
But also I'll be like, oh yeah. And they'll be like, okay. And they'll write them, be like, hey, it was great meeting you. Would you
Yeah.
want to have coffee? Not even to like use it, like just to like get to
No,
know
just
them. And
to,
they're
like,
like,
chill.
no. It's, no,
That's
it's fine. I'll just
crazy.
follow you. Like, and then if I see something, I'll comment. Like, it was just the weird.
That's crazy.
It was a weird exchange.
That's really weird.
Or it's
I
weird.
love that for you.
I know. Or it's weird that like people like, and I think you touched on this. It's hard to like not be influenced that you're known and stuff. Because I've met some influencers and they think they are just like the best. And it's not
It's
to them.
interesting.
It
Yeah.
is a hard, like, I'm very
It's a
empathetic to it. Like,
you
I
have to
get
die
it.
to yourself every day
Yeah.
as a person, let alone a person with like a platform.
Right.
Like you really do have to remember like the why and like I'm doing this to help people, not to like get a cool PR box or
Right.
get a check. Like
And that's the benefit of it.
yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of forget the point, and that does frustrate me when I'm like, I just see people post like, "Here's my outfit, I look cute." I'm like,
Right.
okay, but like, tell me more. Like,
Tell me
I
more.
need a
Where
little more
can-
substance. Like, and not like people locally are doing that, but
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, why?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what's this about?
Right.
And I don't know if it's because my focus is more on that and less on just like selling something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that at the end of the day, it's fashion blogging. You're just a walking
Yeah.
ad, which is
Yeah.
an awesome concept. Like, it's really genius.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's really smart. But yeah, it has been interesting to like kind of navigate the influencer space and be like, who's kind of a friend, who's a colleague, and
Right.
like how do we interact at events when we like don't actually like talk in person
Yeah.
much?
That's the weird thing,
It is a
especially
little
with this.
weird.
Like,
And then like bringing my boyfriend as a +1, he's like, "Oh, so all your friends?" I'm like, I only see these people at events usually.
Right.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Right.
But yeah,
it's so hard. That's
It's an
that's something
interesting
like
time.
I struggle with, like the podcast, because I have people on and we
Yeah.
talk for like hour and a half, sometimes 2.
yeah.
And then like I don't see and I'm just like, but I want to, but then you're all so busy. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
does
like,
suck when you like are friends with people and you're like, "Oh, I saw like that thing you did on your stories the other day." Like,
Right?
but I haven't seen you in months. Like,
right? And I feel like
sad.
it's so like disingenuous. I think that's word. Because like I do want to get to know you, but it's also like you have a job, like,
yeah,
and I also don't want people to think that I'm using them because they have a platform.
right? No,
And so
no,
there's
we
just
can tell. And you're not.
there's just so much.
Yeah, or you like my best friend had a baby. Like she has a 1-year-old. And
Uh-huh.
it's just we've just naturally not seen each other.
Right.
And it's like I see what she does in her stories, and she sends me pictures of her baby. But I'm like, oh, like I miss you. But I'm also like, you're living this whole other life right now that you need to like navigate yourself
Right.
too. And like, I don't want to be like, hey, you want to go get a drink? Like that's not realistic now. Like,
Right? You're like,
and then
"Oh,
she's like, no, I want to, but like, I have
Right,
a whole
like-
baby. Like,
right? And you're like, I need a babysitter.
it's just yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to like kind of keep the social and the media. So
Right,
like
yeah.
especially this year, I've been trying to think more of like how can I remain social on the media? 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like too often we just consume
Mm-hmm.
and take in a lot of media, but like we're not leaving a meaningful comment, we're not answering the DM, like
Right.
we're not, reaching out because we can. Because I mean, there's no reason like people should feel this lonely
Right.
in a world that's so connected, because that's half of the thing I do too. Is half of it is like you hate it here and you don't know what to do here, or you just moved here and I'm telling you what to do. The other half is okay, you found the things to do, where are the people to do them with?
Right. Yeah.
And apparently both of those are very difficult for no reason. Like
Right.
they're so unnecessarily difficult for people, and that's why it's been fun to like be the person to like connect people and like, hey, like I've told you about this cool event or this cool restaurant, like in the hopes that maybe you'll meet your best friend or like your boyfriend there. Like that'd be
Right.
really cool if like that was the reason. Because adult friendship and like relationships
Oh my
are
God.
so weird
So
and hard.
They are
I
hard.
don't like that.
And I'm not actually, from what you just talked, I've never realized like an aspect of feeling lonely. Like we are connected in so many people's
Mm.
lives, but when we go out, even to these delicious restaurants and
Yeah.
stuff, we don't like,
You're not
unless we're
talking to
dating
people.
someone, we don't have a community. Like
Yeah.
we don't have someone to go out. And it's also kind of
Right.
frowned upon to like go eat by yourself. I mean,
Mm.
I do it because I'm
I
like,
love
whatever,
it.
I do me. I love
I'm
it.
so loaded. I like going, like traveling by myself.
Right? My favorite is going to a movie by myself.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
yes. I just
love that.
like, I'm not the kind of person that will wait for someone to be available to go do something. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. And then I like forget I can like events and things. I
Yeah.
forget like I'm allowed to ask people to like be my +1.
Right?
So then I just go by myself, and they're like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Oh, I like it.
Right?
It doesn't bother me."
That's so weird. And I would
It's
say
really
in
weird.
networking events, I do not
I
like
think it's
it.
the only child.
Right? And
I was
maybe
like
it is.
raised to like entertain myself.
Right? But you have also talked about like communities around town. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
one of my guests, I think it was like the second guest I had for the podcast was it
Yeah,
Frances Mary? Yeah.
she's so
Oh, she is.
sweet.
Oh my God.
She's
She
so
is
cute.
such a doll. I mean,
Just
she is cute.
big.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, she is a little petite thing.
She's so
But she's also
sweet.
so helpful,
Yeah.
like with all this stuff and like her like, BFF indie
Yeah.
thing.
Like she saw the gap.
Yeah.
And like that's I think what a lot of people on social media do is they see the gap and they kind of
Right. But yeah,
no one's gonna be it, I'll be it.
yeah, she's killed it and stuff. I've
Yeah.
gone to some of her networking stuff
Yeah.
and it's been like, oh my God, she brings all kinds of people
I
together
know.
and stuff.
Yeah, I went to one of the wine ones and there were actually people there that were like, "Oh, I went to like school with your boyfriend, and he lives like an hour away. Like his hometown is an hour away." I'm like, "That's crazy." Like,
Right? You're
I was
like,
"Tell me
"Oh,
more.
cool."
What do you know?"
I know, right? How was he in high school? Was
Yeah.
he cool?
I
He
didn't
seems
know
cool
him
now.
then.
People can change. People
Yeah.
can. That's what I always
They're
say.
like, "He just really liked video." I'm like, "I bet he did."
Oh, he
Bet
loved
he
it
did.
then too.
He was doing weddings at 15.
Oh,
His
no.
mom was like dropping him off. He was like, "They're $50," and they look like they're $50.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
he was doing
you-
the videos, and he
right.
was like, they were mostly like for my cousins and stuff
Right.
at
Whatever.
that time. But
If your budget, you gotta
Yeah.
find people that fit in your
a
budget.
camera and a dream, really.
Right. Cameron and Dream. And now look at
Look
start
at
from
him.
the bottom. Now
Yeah.
we're here.
Now he's off and about. And,
Right.
Like half the time, I'm like, "You're doing what?" Like,
Right.
but yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I love what you're doing and stuff.
you.
It's because it's more than just like you said, just like content. Like there is an
Yeah.
intention behind it and stuff. And you
Yeah.
saw that, which I think there's a lot of accounts are like that, but some are just like sales and stuff. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, like
Right.
to
Yeah.
each his own. Like
I've been talking to like with one of my clients about like the era of like the perfection influencers
Right.
kind of over, but I'm like, there are still people I follow that like act perfect.
right.
And I love it. Like I love seeing their life. And I'm like, it just takes a lot of effort to do that.
Oh
like
my
I know
God,
how
it
much work it
takes-
takes to like look perfect on social media.
Right. It takes so much effort just
That's
getting
why I
ready
don't
for
do it. Yeah.
the podcast
Yeah.
to like be on video.
So it's
and I'm
like
not
there
even.
are certain people I follow because their life looks perfect.
Right.
Like, even, like I would say like Ballerina Farm.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
her life to
everybody.
me looks perfect. Like,
Right. And then there was such like some media thing because
Yeah.
they found out like, well, no wonder
She
her
wanted to
life's
be a
perfect. She's
ballerina.
made of all this money and all that and stuff. And I'm like,
okay.
I mean, it makes
Like, it
sense,
doesn't bother me. Like,
but people are, I don't think people are subscribing to her or,
Yeah.
following her because like they believe, I mean, like maybe they believe this is it, but I think they also just love this like perfect,
the
she's
aesthetic of it
giving,
all.
she's
Yeah.
giving all that and stuff. And that's what people are
Well, and it's a
subscribing to.
lifestyle that
Yeah.
like not many people live, and it's like that's also the fun of social media is
Yeah.
like
They
seeing
pretend.
other people's lives
Mhm.
and like getting to be nosy without having to like root through their medicine
Right,
cabinet
yeah.
physically. Like
Right. And that's
it's,
so
like, fun.
true.
Yeah,
That's funny. It's true. I mean,
It
I
is.
follow her too.
yeah. Or like Nora Smith. I'm
Right.
like, she's perfect to
Right.
me. Like
She's perfect.
the outfits are everything. But
Right.
it's like she also has 3 kids. Life cannot be perfect.
Right. No.
That's just realistic. But I feel like it's weird when people forget.
Right.
Like, nobody is.
Right. And
'Cause
there's
some people are like almost pissed that you're not perfect or like confused when you act like you are.
yeah.
And it's like, well, it's also like a brand.
Yeah, like
people kind of forget this is the brand.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
like
interesting.
when I started doing the podcast, someone told me like you need a brand, you need like
Yeah.
a character you are that's close to like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But
your
like
audience avatar.
yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I do. So like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does help. It does help. Because
Yeah.
like I call it like an audience avatar, or some people call it like a brand avatar.
Yeah.
And it's like if I've invented a person and that's who I like speak to
Uh-huh.
when I create content, and like I'm always speaking. She's either Lauren or Taylor because there's a lot of Laurens and Taylors in Indy. But I'm like, she's Lauren. She's like in her 20s. Like she works here. She does this on the weekends. I'm like, that makes it so easy to like create content because I just have to be
Right.
like, what does Lauren want to see this week? Like,
Right.
what does Taylor want to see? Like,
Oh my God,
how
that
can I help
cracks me
these
up.
2 girlies out and have them be besties and live a fun life here? Like,
Oh my God, I know. I
it's
need
so
to.
easy.
I need to think more about what avatar. I mean,
Yeah.
the podcast is about just people's
ChatGPT
stories. Yeah,
helps,
I know.
yeah.
Oh my God, right? Chat GPT is the
Yeah,
best.
it's not evil.
No.
Nothing
It helps. It helps so much.
Especially like clients I have that like I'm not familiar with their industry.
Yeah.
Like I've had like video production people and I'm like, I don't know what a DP is. You're gonna have to tell me that one. And it's
All
like
right.
I'm not like using it to word for word write things, but
It helps.
it helps so much so I'm not bothering them trying to do the job they hired me to do. I'm
Right,
like,
yeah.
The goal is for you to like log out
Right. And let me
and not
do it.
have to
Yeah.
like see Instagram if you don't want to.
Right.
you can't do that if I'm like, hey, like, is this caption like correct?
Right.
Like, so it's been really helpful with that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I don't use it word per word, but I do like it
Yeah.
helps me like base to be like, okay, this is how it
Mhm.
should flow. This is
Yeah.
what like,
I
but I'll
found
like tweak it a little bit to make it actually
yeah,
more like personable to me
it's
because I'm not
crazy.
that creative sometimes. And
Yeah, I
people
think
can
too.
tell by the
Like,
way I
you can
talk.
get kind of like burnt out of like
Right.
creating that like
Right.
sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what to type into this thing.
Right.
Like, fix it.
Most of the time, I just have like a whole
Just fix
conversation
it.
with it. I'd be like,
Like,
this
hey,
person's this.
bestie.
Mine is like legit conversation. Be like,
Yeah.
can you please? I'm super nice to it.
Yeah,
Too. I'm
I'm
like,
like,
can you
please
please help
adjust
me?
this.
Right.
It's
I'll
very
even say
weird.
sometimes like, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'll sometimes it'll be me. I'll be like, do it better. Do it differently. And
well,
it's
but
like,
it says
okay,
it
sorry.
learns like how, like when you, the more
Yeah.
like feedback you give it, the more it learns
Oh, yeah.
like your
I have it
style.
trained to like understand my clients too. Cause I mean, my like boutique client is very different than my charcuterie client. Like they have very different voices. So the more I have different just like chats for each one. The more I talk in those voices, the more it learns, which is nice because it's not like putting them together.
Yeah.
It's very separate. So that's super nice. But like I've told it like, hey, here's this brand's website, analyze it and tell me like who you think the target audience is, what are their pain points, and how can we create content around it.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that was easy.
Right. It's great.
It's
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
But
it helps.
yeah, it's a necessary evil.
Right. It is. It is. And I
Lots of
think
things in life.
as long as you don't like fully rely on it and like you get a
Yeah,
little, you know what I mean? Like, but
you
it
can
does,
tell
it
when
helps and
people
it
do.
saves time and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
especially I have this podcast. I have three small, I mean, my oldest child is 6, and then I have a
That's just a
4-year-old and a
bean.
1-year-old.
Yeah, just beans.
Right. So yeah, I have that. And then plus I'm a
Yeah.
wife. So I
Right,
have to
that
pay
guy.
attention to my husband
That
too. So like it helps with like when I need like a caption real quick
Yeah.
or like to analyze something.
Or even like I have like a list of I call it just like my brain dump where I
All
just like
right.
dump content ideas or lists of like, oh, these are the coffee shops I like just to like, have a spot where I can like if I'm needing content, I could go down this list. So I put it into ChatGPT and I was like, let me like make you my brain dump instead of this note and
Right.
see like if I ask you a question,
Yeah.
can you answer it with all this information? Because I was like, okay, like I've given you all this information I have, which is a lot of like just like things to do and like content ideas. And I was like, I'm looking for like top 6 girls' nights for like Valentine's.
Yeah.
And it spat out. So I'm like, I had to like kind of adjust
Legit.
it. But I was
But
like, oh, that's nice. Instead of me just scrolling
right.
through this information that I've written myself over
Right.
5 years, like I can have it kind of work smarter, not
Right.
harder for me and like help.
Right. Because that's the thing. Like I do a Bible study on here and
Yeah.
stuff. And I like, but then when I need to do like the post and stuff, like I've done the work.
Yeah.
It's just I need to be like rearrange, make it sound a little bit better.
Right.
Like I've done the work, but I also need like to remix it. And clearly my brain
Right.
is not working
Yeah.
how to remix it.
And that's been nice with like clients too, is like they have past content that's super great. Like it just
Mhm.
needs the polish of like what we've been working on. And so I can
Right.
just take all the past content and throw it in there and be like, hey, just revise this in the current brand voice that we've developed. And
Yeah.
fix it basically
Right.
and make it a little more razzle dazzle. And it does. And it's like you can do that quarterly. Like if
Right.
you have a very educational page, like
Right.
nobody's gonna remember you posted the same thing last quarter.
Right.
That's okay to like regurgitate in a different way.
Right. But do you think that's
Nobody's
like
pissed about that.
like, but then I feel like some people then, like I've told a few people, like, oh, I use Chat GPT. And I think some people, I don't know if it's I don't want to, I'm going to say it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a pride too. I think some people are
Yeah.
like, oh no, I did that on my own and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but you get,
You're like,
it's like
but
this,
did you suffer?
right? Like the thing is, it's like the same as like I used to compare, like when I worked in labor and delivery. Like
Yeah.
either way, you can have an epidural or you can go
Oh,
on
that's a
Medicaid.
good
Either way, you still get
comparison.
the same reward. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing, like,
It's like not like you worked harder, had a better birth.
right? Like both of them are they
still
are,
probably sucked a little bit.
yeah, it's still the same, like you get the same reward.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, I put something Chat GPT, you
Mhm.
did it yourself. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, even with clients, I'm like, I was almost nervous to tell them, like, hey, I use this to like help
uh-huh,
my job to help you. And they were like, that's why I pay you, because I don't want to figure that out. I was like,
right?
oh, yeah, that is like professional development. And like, that is why you hired me. So I would do that for you. It's
Right.
not like I'm copy pasting,
Right.
word vomiting it back to like your Instagram. I'm like, I'm still keeping
Right.
you and your voice in mind, but it's been nice.
But yeah, you still know how to work it and
Yeah.
stuff. Like some people have ChatGPT and don't understand how to, like, the ways to do it. Because my
Yeah.
husband uses it all the time for his business.
Yeah, it's super nice.
It is. Thank you, Lord, for ChatGPT.
Yeah, thanks. I
It's
know a
not.
lot of Christians use it. They'll
I know.
ask, like, how would you tempt, like,
I know. Did
a
you see that?
mom? Yeah.
That was the
Yeah, my friend
craziest.
uses it a lot. Like, how would you make, like, a man sin in 2025 or something
And
like
it's like
that? And I'm like,
legit. Like, and you're like, oh my God, the computer just told me what the Bible told me. Like,
right. You're like, wow, I knew that.
right? You're like,
Weird.
well, freaking, the Bible did
Weird.
say that.
I
But then,
learned it the hard way.
right?
Like, I actually know that. I wrote it.
Right? Oh my God, that corrects it. But yeah, no, it's just crazy how even I'm like, even ChatGPT, where it's called ChatGPT knows about
Yeah.
the Bible.
It does.
Right?
It does. And it's not like that far off usually.
No, most of the time it's not. Like when I run my notes through like the Bible study thing, I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'll check it and be like, oh, that's true. Oh yeah, no, that
Yeah.
is a biblical truth. I'm like, okay. But it's also, now me just thinking about it also explains why like we also need to have a relationship with the Lord.
Discernment is
Right?
huge with that. Yeah. Or
Right.
even like I've been using it like I wanted to get better at like memorizing verses.
Mhm.
And so I used it to ask because I just didn't want to like start at Genesis 1 and
Right.
because I'm using like note cards
Uh-huh.
to write on little index cards. So I did not want to start at the beginning. So I asked it like what are some common verses that are good to like memorize? And I had to kind of decide like, oh, should I tell like what version I like? Like, is it gonna spit out like the Message? That's totally
Right.
fine, but like I don't really want to memorize the Message.
Right.
I'm like, I'm cool with some NIV.
Yeah,
Like,
right. NIV.
so I have like my actual physical Bible, and then I have my little Chat GPT. Here's
Yeah.
some things to remember, and that was nice because I was like, yeah, I didn't want like Genesis 1, Genesis 2,
Right.
like I just wanted like here's some like really good things to like know.
Right.
Like
You can
Psalm
still keep
23 is
use this.
great.
Oh, right. Do I use that all the time?
Like I would like to know it word for word.
Right.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Right. But yeah, no, I think you could still, I don't think like, because I know some people get like uncomfortable when you say stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
feel like especially in like the faith
Right.
space,
Because they
like,
think
that's
then you're like
gonna
relying on
yeah.
like that and you're not putting your
It's like
trust
mark
in.
of the beast or
Yeah.
something. I'm like, I think
And-
it's worse than that.
Right. But like you're still putting your trust, I mean, like it's just a tool you're
Yeah.
using. It's not like we're not putting all our faith in
No.
it to give us
It's
the thing.
wrong a lot. Or even like the info I gave it about like things to do. It came up with restaurants that have like closed recently. And I'm like, it's not that up to date. It's like kind of a year behind actually.
Really? Huh.
Like it came up with like gallery pastry. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's just not like none
That-
of those are open
yeah.
anymore. So like I had to kind of redo that for like the girls' night stuff. And like it'll sometimes say like something's in Broadwell when it's in Fountain Square. I'm like that. Like luckily I know that's
Right.
not true. But like if you were to just ask it, what should I do in Indy this weekend? From Chicago, it
Right.
might spit you out gallery pastry,
Right. And you're
which would
going
be really upsetting.
right, because you have all your hopes on it and
Yeah,
stuff.
and it's cute and like Instagrammable and awesome, but not anymore. So
Right. It's gonna-
you do have to, have some
have to research.
discernment.
right. Which is the same, I mean, is the same in life.
Yep.
Right. All right. Tell me about your relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, what a fun little story.
What a fun little story. Tell me
No,
how we got here.
I like to say it's
spiritually.
very typical, but it's also very not. Because I mean, growing up in like America, especially the Midwest,
Mhm.
like I was raised extremely Baptist.
Mhm.
Back
Which
in
comes
Iowa.
with its own.
Right.
stuff.
It's interesting because and like the church we went to was very much like all the women wear skirts. We don't listen to secular music.
Right.
We don't swear, obviously, which is like a great practice anyway. All like cool things. But then my fam, like I would go and be like, oh my gosh, like Hannah Montana premiered. Like, did you guys watch it?
Oh my
And they're like,
God.
what are you talking about? Harry Potter's like Satan. Like,
Right. Oh my
like
gosh.
I was very much like the cool. My parents would let me do the cool stuff, and like let me watch like the shows I like wanted to watch. and,
Right,
like,
yeah.
All the kids in my Sunday school were like, "What are you talking about?"
That's crazy.
I just want
'cause
to explain. I like that my parents were that way. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't. It's not that I like couldn't watch Harry Potter. It just
Right.
wasn't something that we did. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't watch it till like middle school.
You did
But
it?
no, because my best friend at the time like loved it, and I just hadn't seen it because
Yeah.
like nobody in my circle was watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So grew up super Baptist. Was saved and like baptized at age 4.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do remember like saying the prayer. I remember like giving my life to Jesus, which is good. That's like the part I would love to remember.
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember the baptism.
yeah.
which is really weird because I'm like, that's so like spiritual and
Right.
like kind of abstract in a way for a 4-year-old.
Right.
I don't remember the physical part, the
Right.
tangible part, which I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I
Right, yeah.
remember the spiritual part. So that was, just the way life was. And my dad actually had converted from being Catholic to Baptist to like marry
Okay.
my mom.
Oh.
So half my family is still super Catholic, which is
Okay.
cool. And I love the reverence of Catholicism. I
right?
love the
Yeah.
ritual of Catholicism. There's just certain things I'm like, I think I like non-denominational a little bit better. And
Right,
as
yeah.
we grew up and like moved around the city of like where we lived, we started going to like a non-denominational church. So it was really fun because we got like the concert in the morning,
Right,
and,
yeah.
like the big like vacation Bible school stuff, and like the like youth group I had during middle school and high school was amazing. Like I loved it so much, and super super fun activities. Like we did like a food fight at the end of every summer.
Oh, that's
like
fun.
really fun stuff. And I was very, maybe I wouldn't say like open, but I was posting on like my Facebook at like 12, like pray at lunch, do it for
Right.
your Lord. Like
Right. I think
so
it
my
was like a
friends
thing.
knew.
Like
Yeah,
I
my
was the
friends
same
knew.
way in middle
Yeah,
school.
yeah, and it wasn't like a weird thing. It wasn't like something that was uncommon because that's just Iowa. Like
Yeah.
it's very religious, and
Right. It's
it's pretty
Iowa.
normal to like have a religion, regardless of what it is. And so then when I was 16, actually my parents ended up getting divorced, which was very strange to me because they had like never really fought in front of me. They never really, it seemed like they had issues, but my dad was just like doing some things he shouldn't, and ended up he wanted to separate.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, I'm not mad at God. I'm not upset at God for like breaking my family apart. I'm just like, I don't really have time for this right now.
Yeah.
I'm 16. Like,
Right.
there's a lot more things for me to be upset and worried about at 16, like boys. Like,
Right.
or just like, all these AP classes I'm taking.
Right. I know.
I'm
Smarty
stressed. And
pants.
so instead of like, a 16-year-old could have really gone off the deep end
Yeah.
with her family and being the only child, like
All right.
things kind of falling apart. Like we had to move from the house my parents built to like a condo with my mom.
Right.
Like my dad lived on his own. That was just a very weird thing. And especially like the way I was raised, like we do not get divorced.
Yeah.
That is just not allowed. Like
Right.
point blank. So for my mom, it was very difficult because even though it wasn't her fault, she struggled a lot with, this isn't something I've been raised to
Right.
do herself, because she was extremely raised Baptist.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just really hard for everybody involved. And so instead of, going off the deep end and like doing drugs or alcohol, I was like, I think I'm just going to do my homework.
Right. You just threw yourself
I
in
threw myself into
education.
school. And it was an excuse of like, if I couldn't handle the emotions around me or in me, I could have the excuse of like, well, I have to study. So like, I can't talk about this right now. Which is a good coping mechanism. In that it's a little more healthy than drugs.
Yes, it is.
It's not, weed.
Yeah. You're not getting high.
Right. I'm not like going out and partying. Which any 16-year-old could. Like, it feels like a very normal way to cope with something at that age, unfortunately. But it was a great excuse to kind of get away from the people that, were the issues in my life. And so I kind of dived into that, and I ended up going to school and not losing my faith, but it was very much, I just don't have time for this right now. Like I am so busy with school. I don't have time. Like I'm trying to like figure out what I want to do, and I just don't have time for this like faith thing. Which I guess would be called apathy.
Yeah.
But it was never atheism. It was never agnosticism. It was never God's not real.
Right. Like you knew there was a higher power. You were just like, I just don't want to deal with it.
I'm so young.
Yeah.
I'm going to live forever at this point. 16-year-olds live forever.
Right.
You're so oblivious to like the life around you.
Right.
That you're
It's
like,
so true.
My life is the only one that matters right now.
Right.
And so it was very much apathetic, which is really sad to me because I'm like, at least atheists have like a thing to stand on. Like they have beliefs that they strongly believe in. Apathy's like, oh, you really just don't care right now.
Right.
Which is sad. But it's kind of, I think, just the way I like needed to be at the time. So I went to school, graduated, moved here, had, groups of friends that were not faith-based at all. Didn't really understand like why I wanted to wait till marriage or things like that. Just very like, oh, like go out and do whatever you want. I was like, okay. And so I did that. I just kind of went out and did whatever I wanted with whoever I wanted, and not like crazy, like,
girl,
oh my gosh,
you could have gone wild.
I could have gone wild. I could have gone wild.
You could have.
And I was very tame for the privilege of freedom that, sinners have. because
Right.
sinning's fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's
No,
really
it is.
fun.
It's a
It's
lot
a really
of
fun
fun.
time until it's not.
Yeah.
And that's fun to like find out
Right.
the hard way.
Satan don't tell you that part.
Things, even like things, just drinking every weekend or like
Right.
just doing things like swearing a lot. Like
Yeah.
they really do make you feel empty on the inside, and you wonder why. And I think because I had just gone to apathy and not like atheism or hating God. I never hated God. I just
Yeah.
was like, hey, bro, I don't have time for you right now.
Yeah.
I think that helped me understand, like, I'm empty and I think I know why, but I just have kind of forgotten
Yeah.
that I can return to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so even like my friend at the time had gone through a breakup, and it was like a breakup of 5 years, like
Oh, gosh.
long time. I thought she'd be married to this person, and she decided, hey, I want to start going back to church. And I was like, well, you're not gonna go by yourself. Like that
Well,
sounds
that's a
like the
good
saddest
friend of
thing to
you.
do. Like to go to church by yourself and just sob the whole time. Like
Right.
that sounds out. Which plot twist? That's what I ended up doing.
I know, right? There's nothing wrong.
Right.
I'm a
And I'm
big
like
fan of solid
kind of nice like,
church.
to be
Yeah.
alone too. But
Right.
I was insistent, like, you're not going by yourself. Like church is something I feel really
Right.
comfortable going to. Like I would go like here and there. When I
Well,
moved
that's
here,
good.
we had
That's good to hear.
yeah, we had some like distant family that
Mhm.
like they were very into like a Baptist church in the South Side, and so
Yeah.
I'd go with them. But it was never like a like priority for me even
Yeah.
after moving here. I was still in that like it's not like I have church hurt. I'm uncomfortable going. I will go, but I'm not going to make it like
A
a
pri-
point in
yeah.
my week to go. And so with her, I was like, you're not doing that by yourself. And so we would go to the 5 p.m. service at Trader's Point
Oh,
because she
no.
worked Sundays.
Uh-huh.
And so she had to go to the 5 p.m. or else she like couldn't go.
Yeah.
So I'm always sad they got rid of that one. 'Cause,
Right.
like it was really helpful for her and us at the time. But that was January of 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
So and we had like just gone on like a fun trip to Nashville together, and then we were like, okay, we're gonna like go back to church when we get home.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and we just kind of fell out of it and back into like more of an apathetic way of life. Dated some people that like were wanting to like be more faithful and go to church, and like we'd go to church and take the note. Like it's so funny to look back and be like, oh, in 2022, I was like, I have notes from a church I went to.
Yeah.
Like, don't remember being like a really faithful person though at that time. Like that's really interesting that like I would go and feel comfortable going,
Yeah.
but I didn't have that connection. I didn't have that relationship
Mhm.
back of like seeking
Yeah.
anything. And so then, life goes on, and I end up in this relationship in 2022. I always have to like remember the years because
That's fine.
when things are hard, they get blurry.
Right.
When you've gone through things.
Yeah.
And so ended up in this relationship and kind of slowly figuring out like, oh, he's like a functioning alcoholic.
Ah.
And I had never really dealt with that. My family's not big drinkers. Like I was a very social little butterfly drinker. I wasn't like, I was drinking a lot for the amount I should have been, I guess. But
Right.
it was like, I'm in grad school. All my friends are 26,
Yeah.
28. Like I'm like their first 21st birthday in a really long time.
Yeah.
They're excited to celebrate me kind of thing. Like it was just more I was catching up on
It was
the
like a
experience I
social
missed.
kind of thing.
Yeah, the other 2 years of undergrad I missed basically. But it was never like, oh, like I can't function without it.
Yeah.
But him, I was like, oh, like I'm slowly seeing like you have a problem, which is really hard when you're a very empathetic person too,
Yeah.
and you want to help, and like you don't realize your help is actually really enabling.
Yeah.
So I've had to kind of learn like at what point are you helping people and what point are you enabling people, because it's a fine line, and especially with an addiction, like you think you're helping all the time, and it's like no, you're just making it easier for them to do what they need to
Yeah.
continue doing. So anyway, we like had like a 6-month long relationship, and the last time I saw him, he was like self-harming in front of me and his
Aw,
mom.
that's sad.
Which is really sad, and I hate like speaking about him this way.
Right.
Like, but I'm like that's just like the facts of what happened. And
Mhm.
at that time too, my mom and I weren't really speaking, just because I had been in a relationship previously, and we thought we were gonna get married, and I just was like, I can't do this. I can't. We had a lot of different like life things we wanted that I was like, I see this becoming resentment.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't want you to resent the things I want to do, and I don't want to resent the things you want to do with your
Right.
life, because that's not going to be healthy.
Right. Yeah.
And I told that to my mom, knowing like, oh, you've been divorced. Like
Yeah.
this isn't something we take lightly. Like marriage is very serious and it's very permanent to us still.
Yeah.
And she kind of was confused, like you're really throwing your life away. And we just didn't talk for a while because she
Okay.
just didn't really agree with that decision, I guess. And it was kind of hard because I'm like, yeah, I'm really independent, but like I'd
Right.
really
But
like
it's
to
also your mother.
speak to my mom about these
Yeah.
things. Which is it sucks, and it's a sad time to like speak about, and like
All right.
I hate that like it had to happen. But I also think with this situation, with this like relationship after that, night I called my mom and I said, hey, we need to like talk about
Right.
the things that have been going on in my life, because I've told no one. Like nobody
Yeah.
knows I'm dealing with these things, like babysitting like an alcoholic
Yeah.
basically for 6 months, which is really hard and like not something I was prepared for.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just seen too much. Which actually my aunt had dealt with a husband like that. And so when I called my mom, she was like, you need to call your aunt and you need to talk to her.
Uh-huh.
And it was a beautiful moment of like getting to speak to her about like,
All right.
here's what I've experienced, because not many people in our family have experienced
Yeah.
that. Here's what I feel about it. Here's what I think you should do about it.
Yeah.
Um, I think you need to move on. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this has been such a nice like reconciliation
Right.
of our family here. Like,
Right.
because I'm very close with my family and my aunts and stuff, but we just live so far away, so it's not
Yeah.
like we talk a lot. So they were really sad that was like the reason I was talking to them.
Right.
But then so that was a Monday that all of that like really a terrible
Mhm.
time happened, and then that Friday was Traders Point's Women's Night.
That
And
was a good one.
it was a good one. It was all about Hagar. It was all
It
about the
was.
God that sees you. And I didn't have time to like get a ticket or anything. I hadn't been to Traders Point in like 3-4 years at this point.
Okay.
But for some reason that, there are no coincidences, but that
All right.
coincidentally just came up on my radar, and I was like, oh, that sounds really fun. And they had sold out of like
Yeah, they sold out
they sold out
so
of
quick.
in-person tickets. And
Yeah.
so I remember I drew a bath and I had my laptop up and I just watched
Aw.
online, and it was so nice. I was like, this is what I needed.
Right.
And it was beautiful, and it was exactly what I needed. And then so that was that Friday. That Sunday, I was like, I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to Traders Point
Yeah.
by myself.
Right.
After this awful breakup.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
really hadn't told a lot of people like what was going on in my life at all.
Mhm.
And I just remember they were starting a sermon series called Rebel's Guide to Joy. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's
Oh
the
my God.
last thing I feel right now.
That service,
It was great.
slayed.
I
It
will
was
always keep the notes I had from
right.
that.
That
It
was such a
so
good one.
It was
Everyone would
so
walk
good.
out of service and be like, "So that was
Yeah.
great."
And I love that like we had a notebook,
I
like
know,
like a
right? Yeah.
study guide. I was like, this is so great to like get back into church. And like
Yeah.
I remember just like sobbing for all the worship songs,
Right.
sitting there writing my notes, and then running to leave. Like I
Mhm.
did not want to see people. I did not want to talk to people, which is so off-brand for me.
Right.
And I just continued to go. And I
Yeah.
was like, I just need to like go. I need to make this priority in my life, because I really just have not, and I've been really far. And
Yeah.
I think this is sadly what I needed to like get my butt back into gear and be like, hey, come back. And that's what I felt. It wasn't like it was consequence of your actions from
Yeah.
God. It was like, welcome back.
Right. Well, that's
Welcome
such a
home. Like,
it's such a beautiful thing, 'cause most
yeah.
people don't feel that way.
No, it's
And
a
that's
lot of
not how
shame and
that's
guilt.
not how God
No,
is at all.
no. It was very much like, where have you been? I
Right?
missed you.
Uh-huh.
It was
Right?
really sweet.
Aw.
Which made it really easy to like continue to go
Yeah.
back. Which was great, because then I did Rooted through
Uh-huh.
Traders Point, 10 weeks of getting really deep with people, which in that group they were like, your spiritual gift is vulnerability and talking. And I was like, great things to go together.
Right.
Because I have no problem talking about the
Right.
hard things in life. And so did that, and it was really interesting because I mean, out of a big group of girls, our main core issue with all of our testimonies was like alcoholism, whether it was us, somebody in our family, somebody that we
No.
had like experienced in our lives.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a coincidence
No,
either.
that is
That was a
not.
really beautiful time to like all
Right.
kind of relate in that way. And
Gives me chills. Like
yeah,
that
it
just
was really crazy. Like,
Yeah.
because we would share testimonies for 10 weeks, 2 people at a time.
Yeah.
And it just was getting like closer and closer to the end. And I was like, this is weird. It
Right?
was just, and it might not have been like a big part of their testimony, but it was like somebody had something like
Right.
about it. And I was like, wow, that's really, really cool.
Right.
And like there was one day it was on my birthday. So it was like so nice to like have my birthday in like a really
Mhm.
faith-based setting. And yeah, I just did that. And then that was kind of like spring into summer of 2023. And then join Remnant, which I know we've talked
yeah,
about.
yes.
And so that was because a girl in Rooted had introduced me to it. And it was really cool because I've been in small groups. I understand a small group, especially
Yeah.
like Rooted is very small group. Always like, a group of women or like with men, a group of men.
Yeah.
But Remnant was really cool because it was co-ed and not
Yeah.
like I was looking for my
Yeah.
Boaz, but
Right.
I
love that you said
really
that.
I wanted different perspectives. I was so
Mhm.
excited. I had never really gotten the chance to do Christianity as an adult. I had always done
Right.
it in youth group. And so it was really cool to be like, oh, there's adults who like willingly choose to be Christians
Right.
and talk about it together. That's really cool. That's
Right.
not something I've really let myself do with this, all this school with these groups of friends that aren't really religious. Like
Yeah.
that's just not anything we really talked about often, except my one friend who wanted to go back to church. And so it was really cool to join and like have all these different perspectives, hear like a male perspective on things, hear a
Right.
female perspective on things, because they're very different in our
Yeah.
community. And we all have different roles and different ways to lead. And it's really cool to like see young men excited about Jesus.
Right.
Like
It's
that
so
was,
it's so
I was like,
weird
I'm not
too.
like
Yeah.
attracted to you in that way, but like
It's
it's
just
just exciting to see.
inspirational. And it's like
Yeah.
there is good men. There is good men
Yeah.
that do love the Lord. And it's
Right.
not just me all the time.
Right.
Just
Exactly. And it was nice because at that point I was like, I obviously need a break from dating.
right.
I need a little bit of a break. Because I was like such a serial dater too. I was
Mhm.
ever giving my time to heal from like a past
Right.
relationship. And I'm like, that explains how I got to this like weird, sad point
Yeah.
so quickly. So I was taking a very long break. So I was just excited to be around like brothers in a
Yeah.
way because I don't have any. And so joined that. And then when Rooted it finished, I got rebaptized,
Uh-huh.
which was really, really cool. I had to have a lot of like, not hard conversations about it, but just like ones of discernment of like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this appropriate to get rebaptized? Growing up as a Baptist, probably like they probably don't really want you to get rebaptized.
Right.
They're like, you've done it once, like you should be good.
Right.
And I know with my mom, I had to be like, hey, here's like why I'm kind of doing this. But
Right.
she was like, oh, like you did have it. Like she wasn't mad or upset. She was just like, I want you to feel like you have
You
that
don't have to,
experience.
yeah.
Like I want you to feel okay about it. If you need to do it again, that makes sense. But she was just a little like wanting to make sure I was like okay with everything.
Yeah.
And then I had other friends who had done the same thing, and they were like, no, like it was a really great way to like recommit myself, reaffirm my faith, redeclare it. Because when you're 4, you're a little bit different when you're 26
Right.
at the time.
Now life has gotten
Right.
you,
And I
it's
had
just
gotten through all those hard things that I
Mhm.
was like, I really need just like a refreshment of
Yeah.
like, this is how I'm gonna live my life now. This is where I'm gonna be. So it's really beautiful. And I like did it at the Rooted celebration not last June, but the June of 2023. And just it was a rededication, which was really great.
Yeah.
And I just remember like coming up out of it and like gasping
All
and being
right.
like, oh, that was like so refreshing.
Right. You're like,
Um,
I am a new
Right,
creation
like
now.
it just felt
is.
very
Yeah.
refreshing. And that was super great and sweet. And like I'm really glad I like went through with that instead of
Right.
being like, I know I am, but when I was 4 and I don't remember it.
All right.
So it's nice to have a date that I remember
Right.
as an adult with my adult fully cooked brain.
Right. Right.
So and like obviously therapy's been very helpful. I feel like we don't
Right.
talk about that a lot as Christians either. Of
Right.
like I went to a therapist that was not a faith-based therapist, but understood my faith was important to me.
Mhm.
And I think at one point I was going to church on Sunday, therapy Monday, Rooted Tuesday, small group Wednesday, therapy Thursday.
Right.
Friday, Saturday was probably doing like a concert with Remnant people.
Yeah.
Like that was so healing.
Yeah,
and I
that's what
needed
you
that like
needed.
spiritual double down in a way. Like, cause now I'm like, okay, spiritual burnout is totally a thing too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I needed that double down. I needed to kind of make up for lost time in a way of like, I've
Right.
been so far away from all this. It's so nice and refreshing to like be
Right.
around groups of people that either understand it or are like so all in on it. And it's been interesting. I feel like a lot of my previous friendships have changed a lot, which
Mhm.
can be unfortunate, but you're also like, okay, well, it's part of the sanctification of
It is.
figuring out who are my people, but also not remaining in my holy huddle, my
Right.
little
Yeah.
Christian
Because you
bubble,
don't. Yeah.
balancing those a little bit, especially with what I kind of do online. Like,
Mhm.
how can I be a light and also not shove it down people's throats? Which I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not. Like, nobody is.
No.
Like,
No one. I mean, no one
sharing
is.
your story, your
Yeah.
experience, life
Right.
experience is not shoving it down people's throats in a
No.
way. Um,
But people get convicted. I feel like some people get
Yeah.
convicted and then they think you're trying to. I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. There is that like the sidewalk preacher kind of person. Like no one
do
currently
like
right now is like telling people they're going to hell.
Cliff.
Like you're not going to hell.
No.
We're not
No.
telling
And
people
if
they're
I'm
going to
telling
hell.
you that, I'm probably gonna tell you like why I think that. Like, I'm
Right?
not gonna
But
just
like
be
no
like, you're
one's
wrong.
yeah, because we see when we see
Yeah.
people as they are, you know, how the Lord made them and stuff.
Yeah.
But we
For
also
sure.
this is a big part of our life now. Like we view everything
Right.
through a biblical lens.
Yeah. I've seen so many TikToks about that of like, all you do is talk about Jesus, and they're like, duh.
Right?
Like, why wouldn't I?
Because
Like,
it's all of our
I
life.
get that to you it's a lot of change, and
Right?
it's not the same as I was, but to me, like, it's now this is the point.
Right?
Like, I'm gonna talk about it.
Right?
But now I try and keep it like not subtle, but just enough to like I don't want people to ever look at me and not think I am a
Right?
Christian. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where it gets scary of like, oh, I didn't even know you were a Christian. Like that is a very scary comment to me. Because like people should know. People should look at you and know something is different
Right?
about you, whether it's knowing you're a Christian or just knowing there's something different about you. But I mean, every Sunday I ask people how I can pray for them.
I know.
Which
And now
has
you've
been
started that with
really
like some other people.
yeah, I saw
I know.
Chelsea do it, which was really sweet. And they always ask me. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
Right?
we don't
When
need
they
to
wanna
ask.
right? You're like, it's a
It's
Christian
okay.
thing.
It's
I think
okay.
it's cool.
And prayer is really hard for me. So it's like
Uh-huh.
it's a way to kind of, work
Yeah.
on that spiritual practice for me. But going back to the whole like people feeling alone, like I swear we call it like me. I call it like weeks of like, okay, there's breakup week. Everybody's going through a breakup at the same time, and that's what
Uh-huh.
they're asking me to pray about.
No.
There's illness week. Everybody's ill all at the same time, or like families are ill.
Yeah.
Or there's like, finals week.
Yeah.
Pray for my finals. So it's crazy to see the patterns of like, oh, like literally, like there was a few weeks last year where like everybody was going through a breakup,
Oh.
and I it was so nice because I respond to all of them. It's
You
like,
do?
yeah, which I mean, it's maybe like 10 to 20, which it's
All
at
right.
the end of a Sunday. I can do that super quick. But and it's like, oh, praying, like,
Yeah,
sorry,
right.
sweet
You don't
friend, like,
act
so
you
sorry to
don't
hear
really
that.
yeah.
Like, but it's so nice to be able to be like, you are one of many.
Yeah.
Like, you are not the only person going through this right now. And like, obviously, I'm not going to name names, but like,
right. You're not gonna spill the tea, but
no. But and it's the things people tell me. Like,
all
it
right. I bet
almost is
so.
like a very. I wouldn't say burden, but it's like a burden of like, I need to really care about these people, and this is how
Yeah.
I can care about them. This is the bare minimum of how I can steward my audience well as asking them this. But
Mhm.
it's like, I mean, people tell me about losing their kids or
Yeah.
like family problems or divorce they're going through, and it's like the level of trust that these people have with me, I am not taking that for granted. I'm taking that as a gift.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of insane, like what people in a good way, like
Yeah.
what people will put in that box and like
Right.
just tell a stranger.
Right.
And it's like even people I've noticed who followed me for a long time, I can tell they're not really believers the second they like put a prayer in there. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, like you're saying
Right.
something. Like
Right.
you even if you're not religious, like
Right.
having
Yeah.
someone pray for you is not a crime. Like
No,
it's
it's not.
nice. Like thoughts and prayers are still nice.
Right.
But that's been a really sweet way to kind of be the light without being
Right.
blinding.
But
in a
yeah,
way.
I think it sounds like you're like planting seeds because
Yeah.
it's not our job to like
No.
convert the person. That is
No.
God and the Holy Spirit to do that.
Right.
But you just doing that is showing them like love and stuff
Right.
because it is hard. I think Christians have a very negative, I mean, Christians have done some hurtful stuff. And
Yeah.
the thing
History
is,
made sure.
right? Yeah. And we're all hypocrites. Like all human beings are hypocrites.
We're
So
all
yeah.
sinners.
So yeah, we're all
I
going
think
to
we
be
forget.
we're all going to be that way. So I think it's so brave when people who aren't Christians do reach out to Christian people,
Yeah.
but then it also speaks about you showing that love and that like
Mhm.
the showing that you have that comfort, you have that like
Yeah.
openness that you're not going to judge them and stuff.
Right.
And
I
they've
mean, it's
seen that.
vulnerable for me to
Yeah.
be like, hey, like I'm putting my faith out here on a platform of
Right.
22,000 people and hoping you're not going to be mad about it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
which is like, I also don't really like care that deeply, but
Right.
it is a lot to be like, hey, this is kind of what I'm about.
Right. Well, it's your livelihood. Currently right now,
Yeah.
it's your livelihood.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had like instances too where like at Q&As, people are like, oh, like where's a church where like, the LGBT community
Right.
can be
Oh,
like
Lord.
comfortable. And I'm like, I don't think I'm the one to speak on that since I'm not part of the community.
Yeah.
But here's some ideas.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you also can't please everybody. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I want everyone to feel welcome and at a church they like want to go to. But I'm
Yeah.
also like, I can't speak. I got to stay in my lane a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah.
And that's also even like not even stuff like that, but I've talked to Chelsea about like people ask me like things to do with kids in Carmel, and I'm like, I like a beer, but I also know like thousands of lovely ladies who live in
Right.
Carmel and have children that would love
Love
to
it.
answer this question.
Right.
And every time she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you," I'm like, I'm
Right.
committed to staying in my own lane.
Right.
I don't know things all the time,
Right.
or like I don't like saying no. I don't know things, but I mean, if somebody asked me about rooftop brunch,
Right.
we just don't have that here. I'm so sorry.
Do you get that question a lot?
I've gotten it a couple times. It's from people who have lived in Chicago or go
Yeah.
to Chicago a lot, and I'm like, they have it.
Right. I don't think we do.
Absolutely
Yeah.
have. We do not have rooftop brunch. There's just certain things, and I'm like, I gotta stay in my
Right.
lane. I gotta know when I can be like, I don't know. I
You
don't know.
crack me up. But that is hard to try to navigate, I guess, on the, I mean, not just rooftop brunches. That's hard to
It's a
navigate when
tough
you don't
one.
have
It's a
that.
big tough one.
You don't have that one. But like also being a light and having to do like what, I mean, I don't know. Do you ever have people that are in that community that like, it's just a hard thing because you're a
Yeah.
public and you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but you have that
Yeah.
absolute truth.
I'm also not like telling people the way they live is wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's not what my platform
But
is
it's not
for.
your, like, I guess it's like not
Yeah.
your thing. But if someone was to come to you, then it's like that's a
Right.
thing. But you're not going to like wild and out beyond your
Mhm.
thing saying that because that's one, not what you do. Like,
No.
that's
And
not
I mean,
your
I have
brand.
had people in like that community that have been
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, I went to that church and like that's not the experience I had." I'm
Right.
like, "Oh, well, like, you know, as me, that's the experience I've had
Right.
at this
Yeah.
church." Like I can't speak to that
Right.
experience because I don't live it, but it is hard to be like
It's so hard.
I can't be everything for everyone, which is
Right.
obvious, but
I can't.
Jesus
Right.
can.
Right. That's the thing. And I think as long as you lead with love in the
Yeah.
way that like Jesus loved and stuff.
Right. And I think that helps that I'm very much myself. Like
Yeah.
what you see is
Right.
which a lot of what you get.
Right.
And if I'm gonna say that on my stories, like I'm gonna pray for you this week, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that in person too.
Right.
I'm very big on responding to things. I call everybody sweet friends.
Right.
I try very hard to humanize, to make the social on the media,
Yeah.
as I say. But yeah, so we've just forgotten it. Or
Right.
like I've had some people I DM back and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you responded." I'm like, "That's really sad that no one's responding to you.
Right.
That's really weird." Kind of the point.
Right. I know, but I think it's just, yeah, you just have to, I guess, be humble and remember why you did
Yeah.
why you did these things. And I
Well,
think it's
like they said, I don't shut up in person.
Yeah.
So on the internet, here I am.
right. But you don't have to, but you choose to do that. But I
Yeah.
think it's also has to do with like your faith that keeps you humble and
Yeah.
it helps you remember like, I mean, like what you've told us right now and stuff, like the hardships you've gone through. Like
Yeah.
there's a purpose for all of them. Like
Right.
one that stuck out to me was, when you called your aunt and stuff, or
Yeah.
even like your mom, this thing happened. And like, I mean, both you guys, I'm making assumptions here, but I feel like most of the time when we're adverse, like not getting along and stuff, it's because we both had our pride. We both had like something going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes we both just need, or one person needs to be humble.
Yeah.
And it's
No, I definitely was
difficult.
like, I'm just gonna do this myself.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's the thing. It's difficult and stuff, but everything happens for a reason. And
Yeah.
that was a horrible situation you went through and stuff.
yeah.
But it brought out not just you reconciliate, like coming back to your mom, but also
Mhm.
learning something about your aunt you probably didn't know about.
Yeah. I mean, I knew a little bit, but not like the extent.
Right.
I was 4 when he
Yeah.
passed. Her husband passed away, so it was like I didn't know like your life
Right.
before that. Like I
Right.
just knew he was my funny uncle. Like, that was it.
But yeah,
Like,
that it sounds
yeah.
like to me that the pain had a purpose and it brought you guys closer and stuff.
Yeah. We definitely have like worked on talking a lot more, and like it's mostly me just being like I'm independent. I forget to like reach out
Right.
to people.
Right. Oh my
Which is
God. That's
annoying. And then my parents are like, "We never see you."
right. That's how
You don't. Like,
I struggle with the
sorry.
same thing. Like
It's
I like to
hard.
do stuff on my own. Like, cause I
Yeah.
felt like I did so much stuff as I have 2 older sisters and stuff,
Yeah.
but they're a lot older than me. So I kind of grew up on my own.
Yeah.
And so-
you get the only child life.
Yeah. So like I was always doing everything on my own. And then
Yeah.
like I went to school, I did stuff on my own. So it's hard to like, and then it really wasn't until I had kids and I became horribly broken. And I'm not broken like in a sad way, but just like,
Yeah.
I was like, humbleized, or I don't
Yeah.
even know the word. And so then after that, that's when I was like, I need a community. I need people. I need to stop doing
Yeah.
this alone. And I still fall into it where I'm like, I can do this on my own.
I mean, it's easier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, if
Oh
I'm
my
going to do
God.
it, I'm going to do it I'm just going to do it
Right.
myself.
Right. It is. It's
Which is really
easier
hard.
and it's comfortable because you know. And sometimes, and the thing is, it doesn't work out. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
it
It's some. I
doesn't.
need to rely on the Lord and people
Yeah.
more. It's a lot. It comes out a lot better than what I
Yeah.
anticipated.
And that's what's been really nice about those like communities that I
Right.
found is like, oh, like Remnant is a great resource if I'm going through it, or, you know, I want to go to a concert with somebody. Like,
Yeah.
it's very nice to like have those groups that I can like lean on, but I have to remember to do that too.
Right. That's the thing.
And be like, oh, I'm just suffering all alone.
Right. Yeah. Because it is, I mean, like,
Yeah, you are. Like,
we're a part of the body of Christ. Like,
Yeah.
we are a body, and that's what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like,
it's like for someone like me that loves people, like if I feel isolated, like that's a problem.
Mhm.
That's really not
Right.
great for me to feel that way.
Right. You're like,
So
something's up.
it's a good check.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, yeah. And we just talk so much. I
What
love
time
this.
is it?
All right, Shay, before we end, how can I pray for you?
Ooh. I never know how to answer this.
I mean, it can be something small.
Because people will ask, they'll come back at me in the
Oh,
box
they will?
and be like,
Aw. And I know.
"Oh,
And now I'm asking
pregnant."
you.
I'm like, I'm not.
All right. Now I'm asking you on the
How much
podcast.
I feel like finances right now.
Okay.
I feel like
Because it could be scary.
people my age need to talk about money more. In
Right.
general.
Right.
We've talked about that a lot in my small group. Just like we all have such different jobs. Like I don't know what you're making and why, and like
Right.
it's weird that we don't talk about it. Anyway, I do feel that, of course, the devil would make my money a little funky
Uh-huh.
the month before my year anniversary of being self-employed.
Right.
And like that makes sense to me. That feels
Yeah.
very spiritual warfare.
Right.
So just kind of navigating that, and less
Yeah.
like, you know, bring me abundance and wealth, like,
Right.
and more just continue to give me the peace that I've been having
Right.
about it. I've been weirdly very chill about my finances for as like weird as they are right now.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, probably just that.
Okay. Yeah. No, because that's a hard.
Maintaining peace.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a hard thing
Yeah.
to. Because it is it's your life thing, but it's good
Yeah.
that you have some peace. But
Yeah.
when money gets funny, it's sometimes
And
it's
it
hard.
gets real funny when
Uh-huh.
you're self-employed.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a very hard trial. And that's something I
Yeah.
will definitely be praying. I'm not going to pray right now,
Thanks.
but I'll pray for you
Yeah.
later on.
I'll
Right.
put it in my question box.
I will, right? Oh my God,
Sweet.
love that. That
Yeah.
cracks me up. All right, Shay, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on here. Thanks. All right, everyone. This is Image Bearers. I'm Lacey Connor, and please like, subscribe. If it's on Apple Podcasts, give me 5 stars. What do you think? Spotify, subscribe, or maybe follow. I forgot exactly which one. And then on YouTube, please follow me, subscribe. All right, bye, guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye.